Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is White Rice Wednesday. So I just got done watching Survivor, so this is my Survivor recap. So to recap on this week's episode, it basically shows the aftermath of the Gondal's decision to vote off Peter. Um, Aubrey kind of feels like she's a free agent because Scott told her that he can't trust her because originally she did write Julia's name down, but then changed at the last minute. And I see Scott's point of view because he wants to align with people he can trust, and he doesn't want to align with people who are up in the air and are a bit wishy-washy. So everything seems to be going good at the Shanlo camp, and all of a sudden it's that time in Survivor, that glorious time when it's merge time. So the boat comes to the Shanlo camp, and they um, grab everything they can, and they take them to the Gondal camp, and everybody's greeted nice. They had a big feast, which is great for them because it looks like from watching this, it looks like they've been through hell this past season. So they're all sitting and eating, getting to know each other, and there's a lot of people are trying to get a read because now it's every man for himself, so everyone's trying to figure out who can I align with, how can I get further in this game. And right away you see Nick trying to read everybody, and um they're kind of wondering, the beauty tribe is wondering who should they align with. They should align with the original Brawn or original Brain. And they said that Debbie was getting on their nerves a lot because she said that Aubrey said that she was double and triple timing people, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think Debbie's trying to figure out her options and trying to figure out who she can trust and who she can align with. Um, the Browns seem like, they're a tight three with Jason, Scott, and Sydney, and now Scott and Ty seem to have, a pretty um, good alliance, and they just saved Julia from last week so they could pull Julia, so they have five, but they need a six to have, that good alliance. So um, Nick was trying to figure out who he can who he can take off, and the immunity challenge is one of those classic ones that we see is when they have to balance, and they have to hold this thing, and they have to hold the balls on it. They have to keep the balls on, I should say, and every 5 minutes they add them up, and it came down to Nick and Ty, and I was so hoping for Ty to get immunity because that would be so awesome for him, but Nick ended up winning the immunity challenge, so he actually won the immunity, um, first immunity individual. Nick won the first individual immunity necklace, so he has a lot of power and a lot of say about where he can align with. And one thing that really annoyed me about this episode is the fact that they said that the Braun tribe is a bunch of bullies. I'm like, I've had enough already with people thinking Jason and Scott are bullies. I mean, have they seen what Alicia does on social media? How she attacks Jason and Scott's families, but she's not considered a bully? I mean, what the heck? Now, I will say this. I am Team Jason, but I didn't like Jason's comment when he said about shoving geeks in the lockers. I mean, I think it was just a slip of the tongue for him. I don't necessarily think he's a bad guy. I just think it was just a slip of the tongue. But then Nick said something similar because he said about the beauty tribes being like the prom king and queen, and them being the jocks, So it was kind of, back and forth there. So idols were definitely coming into question because at Shanlo, Sydney noticed that there was a bulge in Neil's pocket, which Sydney is a very smart cookie. She knows that. And Jason, when she pointed out, Jason knew because he has an idol, so he knew what it looked like. So they immediately saw Neil as a threat because he has an idol, so they wanted to flush the idol out. And Scott's in a very good position himself because not only does he know Jason has the idol, but Ty told him he has the idol, so they can make that super idol at one point. But that Jason suggested that they get out Aubrey because that would be the person they'd least suspect, and Debbie wanted to get out either Jason or Scott to get out the bigger threats now. I mean, personally, I think Nick is the bigger threat, but since he won immunity, they obviously can't vote for him. So I think first opportunity, I definitely think they should get Nick out. But it looked like it was either going to come down between Jason or Scott or Aubrey. But Aubrey did say, because Aubrey said that they would play the idol, so whether Neil would play it for Aubrey, I don't know. And that's another thing too that kind of made me wonder about this season is that everybody is telling everybody that they have an idol. Ty told Scott that he has an idol. I mean, Jason, it wasn't necessarily his fault because Scott was there and helped him get it. But then Neil tells Aubrey he has an idol. I'm like, these are very risky moves. I mean, you have to really be able to trust the people you align with to tell them that. So, before the immunity challenge even started, Jeff noticed that a lot of the people had sores and infections, which definitely is not good when you're out there in Survivor, because that could get really bad. So, before they were preparing for Tribal Council, they actually have medevac come, and in the words of, I think it was Jason that said this, I didn't know you made house calls. I think that was the first ever. And they took a look at Ty because he had scrapes when he tried to get the idol, and he was fine. They said that the scabs were healing nicely. I mean, his cuts were scabbing, they were healing nicely. And then they also took a look at Aubrey because she had a pretty nasty infection, and the doctor gave her two options. They were going to either give her antibiotics, or it sounded like they were going to lance it, which means she'd be pulled. And the doctor said that she thinks she'd be fine with just antibiotics. But then they take a look at Neil, and he has two cuts. He has like one on his leg, and he has one on his back that looked really nasty. And he actually said the one on his back looks fine, but the one on his leg was a big concern because it did, I guess, open. So it's right by the knee, so it could have, went to his joints. And unfortunately, they did make the decision to pull Neil from the game. And I don't care who you are on Survivor. That is just an awful way to go for a medevac. And Neil is visibly upset. That's totally understandable. And he was telling Jeff how Survivor means to him, and he went to say goodbye to everyone. He said, I hope you guys know how lucky you are because he's being pulled. And it is just such an honor to be out there on Survivor. It's literally a once-in-a-lifetime chance. I mean, with Second Chance, the last season, maybe it might be second time for people, but you know what I mean. It's like a once in a lifetime chance, and it's an amazing opportunity to be out there, and it's just an awful way to go because you've worked so hard to get to that point, and just to be medevaced. And I didn't like how Nick said that, oh, we lucked out for a medevac because with the medevac they didn't have to go to tribal council. So Nick was saying, oh, we got lucky by a medevac. I'm like, I don't think a medevac is lucky. I mean, I'm really starting to hate Nick now by that comment. And then Aubrey was really ticked that Neil didn't give her the idol. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think his situation that he's going through right now is a little bit more important. He's like worried about his infection, and he's just in shock that he's just being pulled from this because he was just fine like 10 minutes ago. But the good news is that even though Neil is pulled from the game, he will be on the jury, so he will get a vote in who will win, who will be the sole survivor. So Neil, I'm sorry you had to go so soon. Next week it seems that Beauty's gonna align with Brain, and Brain will be on the outs, but you also see a preview of Sydney and Jason fighting, so there might be some trouble in paradise. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Survivor recap. If you want to watch Survivor, it is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on CBS. Like, subscribe, and remember, stay regal.